Jack Doherty is one of the most controversial creators on the planet today. We've all seen clips of his kick streams going viral online. We've all started to hear of him a lot more recently. But the question is, could Jack Doherty be the one to save influencer boxing if it needs saving, or the one to help bridge the gap and blow it up in America? That is a question that we are going to be exploring. But he wouldn't be doing it by himself. He'd also be doing it with the help of Danny Aarons. So in this video, we're going to explore who is Jack Doherty, why is he so famous in the first place, who's Danny Aarons, why does he want to fight him, and what impact could it actually have on the crossover boxing scene? Is it feasible? Could it actually happen? And if it did, how would it go? If you enjoyed the video or any of my other content, like, subscribe, comment. But for now, let's get into it. So, number one, who is Jack Doherty? So Jack Doherty is a streamer, YouTuber, content creator from America, more specifically New York. He's 20 years old and at the moment his heat is hotter than ever. He actually first blew up around 7 years ago when he was only 13 years old by making a video based around flipping things. The video was called I Flip This, and he had bottles, crayons, a whole host of other stuff. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a period of time where the whole world seemed to be obsessed with being able to throw a bottle up in the air and making it land flat. And this video blew up for him. It's currently sitting at 29 million views. Yeah, so that is how Jack Doherty ended up blowing up. Now, this got him a really hardcore fan base. He continued to post on YouTube. He continued to post obviously on TikTok as that started to grow as well. But of recent, his notoriety has taken a massive jump because he started to film all day in real life streaming content. And there was one clip in particular which really awoke him to the masses, whereby he was at a party and he was antagonizing somebody. An altercation started and his bodyguard then proceeded to punch that person. And Jack has gone on to make a lot of content where he does these streams, he's in public, he antagonizes people, and when people respond, these massive security guards that look like they're 6'5", weighing 250 pounds of pure muscle, who obviously have guns on them as well, kind of step into the equation and restrain the other person. Personally, it's not my cup of tea. I've seen a lot of people describe Jack as the thing that's on top of a church and rings at noon. Yeah, you know, there's lots of different types of bells in the world. That is not for me to judge. I am not the jury. I'm just letting you know why he's blown up and why he's so hot at the moment, and this is all part of it. Regardless as to what you think of Jack Doherty as a person, having over 13 million subscribers on YouTube and over 9 million followers on TikTok means that right now in the Western Hemisphere anyway, talking about Europe and the US, he is one of the biggest content creators, and it is very, very hard to ignore him. Cannot be denied, if he was to make a step into the influencer or crossover boxing space, it would be one hell of a splash. Now, whether that would be a positive, negative, left or right, we don't know, but it would have an impact for sure. All right, so we've explained and we've looked at who Jack Doherty is. The next part is, who on earth is Danny Aarons and why does he want to fight him? So, Danny Aarons is a 21-year-old YouTuber from London. He himself has got over 1.1 million subscribers on his YouTube channel, and he blew up by predominantly making FIFA videos based around Ultimate Team, and then also branching out into actually doing some football stuff as well. He just makes funny content. He seems like quite a normal person, and he's managed to develop a real hardcore fan base that really ride for him and love him. I saw him on the What's Good podcast, and you really get to see his personality come through. There is a level of humility to Danny Aarons, but he also does have a lot of confidence in himself too, which I guess is a recipe for success and why he's managed to get to where he has. But in the past few months, he's taken another step to, I guess, another level of fame. I don't know if it's stardom yet, but he's definitely grown a much bigger profile while going on a program called Locked In. So he was in there with a load of other content creators, there's loads of eyes on it, and that really exposed him to a much bigger audience. And from him having good banter, getting into altercations with other people, and also having a flourishing friendship with Tennessee, which recently it looks like may have blossomed into something more. It definitely got Danny a lot more attention. He's been able to grow as a result of it. It's got to be said though, one more thing on Danny Aarons, well done to the boy, because it seems like he might have managed to bag one person that so many people are hunting. As well as having good YouTube skills, very questionable mullet, but I've got to respect the bravery for keeping. We've got to say the boy's got some riz as well. Danny, if you come across this video, well done, my brother. Okay, so now the question is, why are we talking about Jack Doherty and Danny having a boxing match? On Twitter, Danny has been antagonizing Jack, saying that he would love to fight him. And if I go back to that same What's Good podcast with Mini Minter and Randolph, there was a conversation where Danny was saying that he would love to get into boxing. And Danny was saying that he would want to fight somebody that he doesn't know, ideally somebody who's American, so he wouldn't feel any type of way about punching them in the face. And he also says that he backs himself quite a lot, and if he was going to do it, he'd be training twice a day as if he was going to fight against Floyd Mayweather.
I'm going to start training incognito. I think with sufficient training, smack anybody. No, I'd take it like I'm fighting Floyd Mayweather, mate.
It seems like he's got absolutely no combat experience, but I do have to salute him for the confidence, because he also said that anybody he fights, he would beat the crap out of them. Where he's getting that confidence from, I've got no idea. I think it's completely unfounded, but listen, Danny, salute to you. And he says he wants to fight against somebody, and he's picked the biggest person that he probably could get within a realistic time frame, and that is Jack Doherty. Now, how about Jack? Jack hasn't had any fights officially. However, going back years, Jack used to actually make content on his YouTube channel that was him boxing people, and they literally, in a room, head guards, boxing gloves, go at it and start scrapping. He might have a little bit of a screw loose, or he might just like fighting, or maybe he's just got no fear. Whichever way we look at it, I think that means that he potentially would be open to jumping in the ring and fighting someone. Because if you'll do it for no money on your YouTube channel, in a basement with no boxing gloves, no safety, no referee, why would you not do it in a Misfits ring in a sanctioned fight? Right? It's one thing them both having a profile and agreeing that this could be mutually beneficial for them to fight each other and get added exposure. But it's another thing to actually get through the logistics. So let's look at it. How would this actually work? Logistically, how would this fight work? Number one, we've got to look at money. I reckon Jack Doherty, if he was to look at what other people are doing, I might be about to lowball this number, but I don't think that he would get into a ring for less than around $500,000. I know, having spoken to Keem before in the Twitter space, he actually reached out to Jack about getting him to fight, and Jack was saying he wouldn't even go to a boxing gym. If he was gonna fight, a coach would have to come to his house and train him there. The problem is sometimes when people are so big is that they make so much money doing what they do normally that they need huge amounts of compensation to take time out of their general schedule to switch to learning how to box, getting fit, getting strong. If you're already super rich and you're already super famous, you don't really need it. You're only doing it because you want to. You're only doing it for the experience. So as a result of that, I think we really would have to pay Jack Doherty a lot of money. Now, 500k plus is doable for Misfits. They definitely could make it happen. So if Jack was to say yes and the coach was okay with going to his house and they could set up the sparring at his house, I don't know how big his garden is, can he get a ring there? But you get the point. I think there's a way of making it happen, but it would be hard. Otherwise, Jack might have to make a little bit of a sacrifice and just give up 2 hours of his day to go to a boxing gym and get it done. Danny, on the other hand, I think for him, he's probably going to be asking for around 100 grand, which is still a lot of money to get for a boxing match. We're talking about 4 rounds, 3 minutes, right? But again, he would have to lock in for a certain period of time to get himself physically, mentally and skill-wise up to the level to be able to go into a ring with 10-ounce gloves, no head guards, a real risk of getting knocked out, and be able to acquit himself properly. That is not a figure which would make Misfits bulk. They definitely have that money to play with, and I think Jack Doherty versus Danny Aarons is enough to be a main event card potentially, or it could sit in a prime card fight. Either way, it's going to bring eyes, it's going to bring tractions, and I actually think it would be brilliant. Just think of the excitement that would be around it. There's so many people as a result of Jack's content that would love to see him getting punched in the face. And Danny's got a lot of people that love him, and so they would love to see him be the one to do it. Personally, I'm right behind it, and I hope it's something that we can make happen. To negotiate everything and sort it out, knowing what Jack is like, just hearing it from Keem, we aren't going to get an agreement that's ready to sign and done and agreed on until some point in February. And then from there, you're talking about probably having a 12-week camp at the bare minimum. So we're probably looking at April, May or June potentially, where they could headline a show themselves. Or Kalisawaland has recently confirmed that there is going to be a Prime Card 2 this year. Again, it could fit on there. And there's an argument to suggest that if there's a Prime Card 2, it's probably going to be late summer or autumn again. That would be enough time for both Jack and Danny to get themselves ready to have a fight. And on that note, I'm going to make my prediction. If Jack Doherty does fight against Danny Aarons and they have enough time and notice to lock in, I'm actually leaning towards Jack Doherty right now. That's not based on anything skill or physically. It's just based on the fact that he used to make content boxing just for shits and giggles. And a man who doesn't mind getting banged in the face just for a bit of clout on YouTube is a man who doesn't mind having a fight. Check out Dean the Great. That is me done. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to it. And also let me know what other things you want to hear me go into as well. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can have a lot of fun discussing, and I had a lot of fun doing this. So yeah, peace.